Welcome to Lee Kiao Jung channel. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to support me in creating more meaningful videos.
Today, we continue our journey with Sung Luyen as she heads to the field to harvest fresh green cucumbers. She sells them at the local market to support herself and her little daughter. A simple routine, but filled with strength and determination.
When she arrived at the cucumber garden, Sung Luyen greeted the owner with a warm, respectful smile. She explained that she needed to buy a small batch of cucumbers to resell at the local market. For her, harvesting directly from the garden was the most affordable way. The price was lower, and with a bit of hard work, she could sell the cucumbers at a better price later and earn enough profit to support herself and her little daughter. The garden owner understood her situation and kindly agreed. After a simple but heartfelt negotiation, both sides settled on a price that Luyen could manage. With gratitude in her heart, she thanked the owner, adjusted the strap of her woven bamboo basket, and stepped into the rows of green vines. The cucumber garden stretched out before her, full of life. Long trellises were covered with green leaves, yellow flowers blooming brightly under the morning sun. Bees drifted lazily from blossom to blossom, carrying the soft hum of nature. Butterflies fluttered around her as if dancing among the vines. Luyen slowly moved along each row, gently lifting the leaves to find the freshest cucumbers. She carefully chose the tender, bright green ones, each fruit picked with intention and hope. Every time she placed a cucumber into her basket, the soft rustle of bamboo echoed her quiet determination. The sunlight filtered through the leaves above, casting warm golden patches on her face. Sweat began to form on her forehead, but she didn't mind. Hard work was familiar to her, almost comforting. With every cucumber she collected, she felt closer to securing another day of food, another day of stability for her little daughter.
Meanwhile, in another place far from the quiet cucumber garden, CEO James was driving along a dusty rural road, heading out to inspect one of his construction projects. His schedule was tight, but he always made time to personally check important sites. It was his way of ensuring quality and staying connected with the work that built his company. When he arrived at the half-finished house, the workers greeted him respectfully. James stepped out of his car, adjusted his jacket, and walked toward the structure with a focused, professional gaze. The sound of hammers, saws, and distant chatter filled the air. He entered the house slowly, examining every detail. He checked the layout of the rooms, compared measurements with the blueprint, and made sure the materials being used matched the design requirements. He ran his hand along the newly installed beams, inspected the foundation edges, and noted a few areas that needed adjustments. Even though he was a CEO, James preferred to be hands-on. To him, every project represented someone's future home, someone's dream, and he wanted it to be perfect.
Back in the cucumber garden, Sung Luyen continued her work with quiet determination. The morning sun had climbed higher, warming the leaves and casting soft shadows across the rows of vines, but she didn't slow down. She moved gently between the trellises, her hands steady and practiced as she searched for the freshest cucumbers. She lifted each leaf carefully, her eyes scanning for the perfect fruits, those with a deep green color, smooth skin, and just the right size. Whenever she found a beautiful one, she plucked it with a soft twist of her wrist and placed it gently into her bamboo basket. The basket slowly grew heavier, but that weight brought her comfort. It meant she was one step closer
to providing for her little daughter. Around her, the garden was alive. Bees hummed tirelessly, collecting nectar from the yellow blossoms. Tiny butterflies drifted through the air like floating petals, occasionally landing on the vines before fluttering away again. The scent of fresh cucumber vines mixed with the earthy smell of morning dew, creating a peaceful atmosphere that wrapped around her like a gentle embrace. Luyen wiped the sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand, leaving a faint streak of dust on her brow. She didn't mind. Hard work had been a part of her life for as long as she could remember, and though it was tiring, it also gave her a sense of purpose. She continued filling her basket, selecting only the nicest cucumbers, the ones she knew would sell quickly at the market. Some were long and slender, others short and plump, but each one was chosen with care. As the sun climbed higher, the garden began to glow with warm light. The vines shimmered softly, and the blossoms looked almost golden. Luyen paused for a moment, taking a deep breath. She felt tired, but also proud. This was her effort, her strength, her way of fighting for a better tomorrow.
After paying the garden owner for the cucumbers, Sung Luyen lifted her bamboo basket and headed straight to the market. She found a small empty spot beside the busy highway, set the basket down, and carefully arranged the fresh green cucumbers in front of her. She placed the nicest ones on top, quietly hoping that today she could sell everything and earn enough to take care of her little daughter. The street grew louder as more vehicles rushed by, motorbikes, trucks, and cars, creating a constant stream of noise and dust. Still, Luyen waited patiently, her eyes following each passerby, wishing someone would stop. After a long while, a woman approached her small stall. She picked up a cucumber, examined it, and nodded with satisfaction. Without hesitation, she offered to buy all the cucumbers at once. Surprised and overjoyed, Sung Luyen quickly packed the vegetables and accepted the money with both hands. Relief washed over her. Today, she had earned enough to support her daughter's school needs and daily meals. With gratitude in her heart, she watched the woman walk away, feeling thankful that her hard work had paid off. For Sung Luyen, this small moment meant security and a little more hope for tomorrow.
On her way home, Sung Luyen reached a quiet road where green grass stretched beautifully on both sides. She stopped to rest for a moment, sat down, and opened her small purse. Looking at the money she earned today, her heart filled with joy and relief. But as she sat there, her thoughts drifted to the woman she had helped a few days earlier, the widow who had collapsed from heat exhaustion. Luyen wondered how she was now. Was she healthy? Was she eating well? The distance to that woman's home was far, and Luyen didn't know how she could visit again. She truly wanted to see the woman, just to make sure she was all right, but the long road made her hesitate. The more she thought about it, the more her smile slowly faded. A gentle sadness settled in her heart, because she still hadn't had the chance to visit the lonely widow.
Sitting quietly on the roadside, surrounded by the soft swaying of green grass, Sung Luyen held her purse close and stared into the distance, lost in thought, her heart full of both today's small joy and the lingering sorrow of someone she longed to help. As Sung Luyen sat quietly by the roadside, lost in her thoughts, a car slowly approached and came to a stop nearby. Stepping out was James, returning from work. When he saw her sitting there,
he felt a small tug in his heart and decided to stop to greet her. Their eyes met, and a warm smile spread across both faces. It felt like fate had brought them together at this very moment. They walked toward each other, exchanging greetings, their voices carrying a cheerful warmth that blended with the soft rustling of the grass around them. For a brief instant, the quiet road seemed alive with the simple joy of reunion. They began talking casually, sharing light laughter and stories, the kind of conversation that made hours feel like minutes. James noticed the tired look in her eyes and asked gently, "Have you eaten yet? Are you hungry?" Sung Luyen shook her head slightly, and he nodded with understanding. He walked back to his car and returned moments later, carrying a small package of pastries. With a kind smile, he unwrapped them and offered them to her. Sung Luyen's face brightened as she accepted the sweet treats, grateful not just for the food, but for the thoughtful gesture. Sitting together on the roadside, they shared the pastries, laughing and talking about small things, the market, the day's work, and little moments of life. The conversation flowed effortlessly, full of genuine happiness. Around them, the green fields swayed gently in the breeze, yet all that mattered was this moment, two people connecting, sharing warmth and kindness. For a little while, all worries seemed to fade, and both felt truly content in each other's company. While James went to get some water for the two of them, Sung Luyen sat quietly, her thoughts swirling. She wondered if she should speak up about her wish to visit the widow she had helped a few days ago. A part of her hesitated. She didn't want to trouble James, knowing he already had so many responsibilities and worries of his own. As James returned with the water, offering them each a refreshing drink, Luyen took a deep breath. The simple gesture gave her courage. She decided it was time to share what had been weighing on her heart, the concern for the lone woman who had suffered heat exhaustion and the worry that she might still be struggling. Listening carefully, James's expression grew serious, then determined. He immediately understood her concern and felt a strong urge to help. "We shouldn't wait," he said gently but firmly. "Let's go visit her together and see how she's doing." Relief and gratitude washed over Sung Luyen's face. Together, they quickly prepared to leave, knowing they were about to bring comfort and support to someone in need. In that moment, their hearts were aligned, both ready to take action, both eager to turn concern into help. With a sense of purpose, they set off, ready to journey toward the woman who had been on Luyen's mind, determined to make a difference together. On their way, James and Sung Luyen drove along winding roads lined with trees and green fields. After a short while, they stopped at a small roadside shop. James stepped out, smiling, and went inside to pick a few thoughtful gifts to bring to the widow. Sung Luyen waited quietly outside, watching the sunlight dance on the leaves and listening to the distant sounds of birds. Her heart fluttered with a mix of excitement, nervousness, and hope. When James returned with the small packages carefully wrapped, they continued their journey. The road stretched on for quite some time, passing quiet villages, golden fields, and small streams reflecting the afternoon light. Sung Luyen gazed out the window, imagining the moment she would see the widow again, wondering how she had been and what she might say. Finally, they arrived at the modest home. The little house looked simple but welcoming. Without hesitation, they entered and greeted the widow. As soon as she saw Sung Luyen, her eyes lit up and she rushed forward, embracing Luyen tightly.
Her happiness was palpable, and the room seemed to glow with the warmth of her joy. Luyen returned the hug, smiling, and then introduced James as her friend. The widow looked at him with curiosity and gratitude, and James stepped forward, handing her the small gift he had brought. Though simple, the gift carried a deep meaning, filled with kindness and care. The widow's eyes shone as she accepted it, her fingers brushing the wrapping with a sense of wonder. They all sat down together, talking softly. Sung Luyen asked about her health and how she had been managing. James listened attentively, offering kind words and encouragement. They laughed over little stories from the past days, sharing warmth and comfort that only heartfelt connection can bring. After some time, James stood and offered his hand to Sung Luyen. They said their goodbyes warmly, feeling fulfilled and happy. As they walked back to the car, the widow waved, a grateful smile on her face. Sung Luyen and James drove off together, leaving the small house behind. The widow watched them disappear down the road, holding the gifts close and feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Though alone once more, her heart felt lighter. These strangers had become like family to her, and their kindness had brought her hope and comfort. If you enjoyed this heartwarming story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring moments and click the notification bell so you never miss a story that touches the heart.